Hello, and welcome back to another video. How are you guys doing today, folks? I want to tell you a story today about the time I got scammed at Best Buy. That's right, Best Buy, of all places. I mean, it's nowhere safe, but this was over 10 years ago, maybe even longer, and it played out okay, thankfully. Best Buy did right by me that day. It did work out, but it was a scary, scary situation, let me tell you. I went in there to buy something, and it did not go as planned. Before I say that, though, let me just say I'm a long-time supporter of Best Buy. I still shop there. I still love doing business with them. Haven't had really any issues with them since. In fact, I've had a lot of transactions with them where they've treated me quite good, I might say. And so, do not take this story to me to be a endorsement or a disdorsement. I don't know. I'm not endorsing or anti-endorsing Best Buy. I'm not condemning them. Whatever the case, I still shop there. I still like the store. I still recommend people do if that's their cup of tea and not take this as a deterrent. Okay, yes, that's what I meant to say. Okay, so, red light. I'm going to wait because this is a busy intersection. There, for those of you who always ask me about red lights in the comments, there you go. It's me waiting at a red light. Oh, that was a cop in that Jeep. I'm going to chill out right here. Don't want to attract a negative, unwanted attention to myself. He was in uniform in that blue Jeep. He probably works at the precinct up ahead. He's going to go park and then get in his cruiser. But anyway, would he pull me over now or bother me now? I don't know. I don't know if he would or not. But I don't want to take the chance. I want to go safely and proceed without being bothered because I have things to do. Okay, Best Buy. I bought a hard drive for over $500. I was doing house calls, IT house calls at the time, back in the day. This is well before scooters, well before electric unicycles. Wow, I should be doing house calls now on the electric unicycle. I could be so efficient. It used to take me so long to get on the train or bus and go from location to location. It was actually the most dreaded part of my job. And it seems like it would be great now. The hourly rate was great. It just kept going up until eventually it was like skyrocketing. And I had a great time doing it. But eventually I let it go. I started being a company man and whatever. Okay, back to the point of the story. I bought a hard drive for $500. This was like state of the art at the time. It was like SATA. It was a big hard drive, big metal clunky clunker. Nowadays not worth $1, not worth 2 pennies to rub together, as they'd say. But I put all my money, cash, from my debit card, and I invested it knowing full well I was going to install it for the client. I was going to get reimbursed for the drive, and I was going to get paid for my service. So all in all, not too bad. I even charged a 15% service fee just for going to pick up the hard drive and for knowing what to get. So all of that combined meant that me buying a $500 hard drive as this young, avid, hardworking individual, this self-employed, learning, working hustler, meant it would be fine. I'd be fine. So what if I didn't have too much money left in the bank? I'd be good. And this wasn't for me. I wish I could afford an expensive luxury item like this lovely hard drive for my own gaming PC or my own work computer or whatever. But it wasn't for me. It was for a client. Anyway, I get home. I open up the hard drive. And lo and behold, it is an old, crusty IDE hard drive with almost no capacity. Not what I paid for. That's right, I think it was supposed to be a 500 or 320 gigabyte hard drive, however long ago this was, which was state of the art. It was an old, light, crusty IDE drive. It was worse than any hard drive I had in my house for any of my own computers. So to me it was like, whoa, this is not a hard drive, this is trash. This is actual garbage. And I thought to myself at first glance, oh, Best Buy, this is going back. And then I paused for a second in shock when I realized what just happened. Best Buy is not going to allow me to return this drive. They're going to think I switched it out. This is a disaster. I'm in the hole for $500. It wasn't even for me, it was for a client, and now I'm stuck footing the bill. This is not okay. And I panicked, basically. Wow, bro, really? That guy just did a U-turn, almost got hit by a car on his motorcycle. Yeah, you gotta be like, remember I always say in my videos, use good judgment, be careful. Like, if you miss your turn, keep going, make the next left or whatever at the next available intersection when it's safe to do so. Do not pop a Yui well, on a one-way busy avenue. Anyway, I'll stop criticizing the poor chap. He probably didn't know what was going on. The hard drive, I'm not in panic. Thankfully, I feel like I don't typically panic. I don't get this like anxiety. If I ever get anxious, it's usually for like a split second, a moment, and then I just start like becoming solution oriented. I immediately jump into like workhorse mode and I start thinking. So that's what happened. I just felt dread. I felt like no matter what I try to do right now to think my way out of this, there was a looming dread that kept saying to me, this is not going to work out how you're hoping it's going to. This is going to be one of those times where you are going to eat the loss and bite the bullet. And what was most horrible about this for me in processing this piece of information was that it wasn't my fault, that I literally got scammed. I opened up the package and it was even sealed inside of the box. The box was sealed. Everything was sealed. It wasn't like I picked up an open box off the shelf like a dummy. No, everything was sealed. Everything was the way it was supposed to be. This could have literally happened to anyone. And I'm thinking, I'm a young male. They're definitely going to assume, listen, in all fairness, if I was a cashier or a customer service rep at a store and someone brings me back this $500 item, but the box is full of garbage, I'd be like, nice try, chappy. Good one. Why don't you go work like the rest of us? What do you think this is? We're giving out handouts here? Go take this old crusty hard drive back to your den, wherever you were lurking from, and go get the real hard drive and put it back in the box if you want your money back. Don't be a scamming loser. So I'm thinking, oh my God, if that's how I would feel if I saw this, then that's how they're gonna feel. Unless they're like, oh boy, we're so sorry, this is happening more and more lately. Don't worry about it. We know it's not your fault. You're a good, loyal customer. You're a respectable individual working hard for his money. We know you would never do such a thing. Step right up, brother. Let us help you. Let us take care of you. And we're so sorry for the inconvenience from this nonsense that you had to endure and the second trip. Please don't lose trust in us. This is a miscommunication. This is a mishap. Not our fault, but not your fault. And we're going to make this right. Now I'm in fantasy land, right? Like I'm thinking, hey, maybe this can happen. Maybe there's a chance. So now I'm presented with this dilemma, okay? Do I go in there and put everything in the box and try to seal it up as best I can and be like, oh, one refund, please, for this hard drive, and just like pretend like I don't know what's going on in the box? Or do I go in there and slam this box on the counter and say, how could this happen? This is a travesty. Or something of that sort. I'd be like, hey, guys, like, this is, like, not cool. Hello, my money. This is the Best Buy. You can't be doing stuff like this. You got to do a better job. Like, which approach do I take? Do I play stupid, but then if they notice, they go, oh, this guy was definitely trying to scam. Because why wouldn't he have mentioned that? Right? Or do I mention it right out the gate, but now we're definitely confronting the monkey right out of the box, and there is no possibly we don't have to deal with this issue, and fair is fair because I didn't do it, so that's their problem now, right? So I'm really torn between these two options, and I'm like, listen, like, what would the right thing to do be? Like, that's your value system right there. This is like, what would you have to do to be honest and show integrity and live your life in accordance with your values? That's what you should do. So I'm like, okay, so then that means I have to confront the issue head on and be honest. I don't want to portray myself potentially as a scammer. I don't even want them to not know. I want them to know and prevent this from possibly happening again. So what do? I walk right up to the counter. Hey, how you doing? Customer service. How can I help you? Hey, yeah, I bought this hard drive. It's not the right hard drive. I opened it up and this was inside. So I opened it up and show the lady. I go, this was inside? This is not the right hard drive. She's like, what do you mean? She clearly doesn't know much about hard drive, but she can't tell that it's an IDE pin connector, which is a long, outdated style connector for the computer, as opposed to the new age SATA connector that it was supposed to be, which is much narrower and smaller, but way more high powered and high tech, and transfers data way faster. It was just a better drive, and the drive's supposed to be heavier. It's like steel compared to these lightweight, feathery, like low grade, low priced, old technology hard drives. I'm like, hey, here it is. Look at the picture on the box. I'm showing it to her. I'm being real nice, I'm like, this is what it is, and this is what it's supposed to be. So yeah, I'd like a refund, or I'd like to exchange it for another one, so like, because this is no good. So she goes, okay, hold on a second. And she radios for the manager, and the manager shows up. And I think she was whispering something. So he comes down to the counter, and he goes, hey, how can I help you? And this is like a more like tech-savvy looking young male like me, but older. And more like, hair, gel, slick back. I remember kind of muscly looking, like he probably worked out at the gym. So I could already I was getting this whole aura already of like, yes, young man, like, what can I do for you? And you'd better not play any games with me. So I'm like, hey, yeah. So I tell him the same thing I told the lady. I'm like, wrong hard drive. I don't know how this happened. Isn't this crazy? It's never happened before. I mean, look at my account. I've got so many purchases. This has never happened. And like, in an effort to not sound suspicious, I was like, kind of like maybe talking to it. I'm like, look, I like borderline want to say, this isn't what it appears. Okay, I know what you're thinking, but I'm telling you, literally, and I know this never, because this has never happened to me. I bought tons of stuff from Best Buy. I'm telling you, I opened the box and this is what came out. This was in the box. It was sealed and everything. And the guy has this look on his face. He's like, young man, like, I am not buying that in the slightest. You seem guilty. You're like telling the story like you're guilty already. Like, buddy, you better just get out of here and go home. Nice try, That's how he looked. He looked like as if to say, okay, like, I don't want to be rude. I'm going to maintain my professionalism and everything, but really, nice try. Like, not going to happen. So he says, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't help you with that. I can't return that. And once he said, I can't return that, it was like I went deaf. Like, I couldn't hear. I heard a ringing in my ears, and I was like, oh my God, it's happening. I couldn't hear anything. It was like everything was on mute. My blood was rushing to my neck. I felt like I was being choked. And I said, it's happening. It's really happening. The worst case scenario that I expected, there it is, finally. Acknowledged explicitly in verbal words. And I'm standing there looking at him, and I'm pausing for a second, thinking of just what to do. I have to think my way out of the situation. I have to resolve this. But I am flushed. I am red in the face. I am basically traumatized. I'm like, it's as if like I just saw like someone get hit by a car. I'm like, and I'm thinking about the $500 plus tax. And oh my God, I paid with debit card. Oh my God, I didn't film the box being opened. Like, I went wrong on so many angles, and I was just punishing myself. And what was probably a few seconds felt like an eternity of a pause. Bro, really? Never stop with your left hand. He had one hand on the handlebar. I've done that before. I full on flipped though. I was holding a basketball in my right arm once, and I was zooming down a hill on a bicycle. I must have been like 12 years old, zooming down a hill, holding the basketball in my right hand, holding the bike handle with my left, and I'm like, I am an experienced bicyclist. I can enjoy the conveniences and comforts of life by riding with one hand, unlike all you normies. And then I squeezed the brake as hard as I could, and I wasn't wearing a helmet or anything. I squeezed the brake as hard as I could, and I remember slow motion flipping in the air. Like, the whole bike, the back tire went up, the front went down. I flew over the handlebars. I'm sure I did a tuck and roll or something. I can't remember the specifics, but I was all over the floor after being all in the air, and it was terrible. I had so many scratches and bruises and bumps from that fall that day. It was a most horrific experience. And then I realized, oh, left hand is front brake. So when I front braked instead of back braked, the front wheel, the front wheel stopped, but the back wheel kept going. Whereas if I would have braked with the back wheel, that would have been smarter. So I could have held the basketball in my left hand and braked with my right hand, and I probably would have avoided this type of thing. So, little tidbit, a nugget for you, in case that ever happens to you, like it just happened to that guy back there. Okay, so I am like, my worst nightmare, my dreams are over, this is gonna break me. Oh no, $500 plus tax for my debit card. I can't even call my credit card and cancel it. I can't call the police. I'm like, what is about to happen? I was like, I'm gonna fight on. This is what I was thinking while standing there. I'm gonna fight on politely, and I'm going to convince this man to help me, because I am not at fault, and the truth shall set you free. The truth always prevails. This is what I was thinking. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to have to really gingerly address this right now. Okay, I'm going to have to carefully and intellectually and show him what a polite, poised gentleman I am, and how I'm just going to explain to him what happened. I'm going to explain it again. And this guy's the gatekeeper, okay? Nothing is going to come out of this situation by force. I knew that no police phone call, police were going to come, be like, oh, okay, well, we can't really do anything about it. I can already picture it. Oh, we want to take a police report, but we don't know who opened what box was in where. Are you kidding? We don't deal with customer service matters where you want to return things. Are you kidding me? Go home, kid. And I'm like, okay, this guy's my only hope. I have to convince this guy somehow, some way, or I just ate a $500 loss, which, like I said in the beginning of the story, I don't have a lot of money at this point. I've got some money. I mean, I was working with, money comes in, money goes out. It's not like I could just throw $500 away. This was truly a devastating, heartbreaking situation for me to be in. I really remember my emotions on that day, because this was like an unforgettable experience for me. And so what did I do? I carried on. I said, okay, let me start over. Maybe like something got lost in translation. Maybe I can do a better job presenting my side of the story. I started over, and the guy nodded, and he looked like he was about to offer some solution. And in his nodding, he says, I cannot help you with this. This is not okay. There's no way for me to process this refund with an item that's not the correct item. And again, I don't hate the guy, because I feel like I too would have been saying and feeling exactly what he was saying and feeling, and suspecting exactly what he was suspecting. He was suspecting that I kept the new drive and brought him my old one. And I'm thinking, my old one isn't even this old. I couldn't even bring you a drive this old, but that means nothing to him. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know what I have. He doesn't know that I'm working and this was for a client. He doesn't know anything. He just thinks I'm here trying to get one in on the big corporate Best Buy. Again, I can't blame him. Dude. So I'm like, I start to get frustrated, and one of the rare moments in life where I lose my cool, I'm like now kind of berating him a little bit. We're losing our formal, like it's starting to prolong. It's going on for 30, 40 minutes, back and forth. I'm asking him if this has ever happened. I'm asking him, how could this happen, and so on. And we're just back and forth about it. But in the end, he is stiff. He is staunchly saying, no, not going to help you. Finally, I lose my cool. Like now I'm yelling, I'm sweating. I've been here for 20 minutes. Customers are huffing and puffing. Like, what is this kid trying to do? Employees have gathered around because of the screaming, and because now he's like threatening to call the police. He's telling me I'm out of line and I'm being disrespectful and that I have to leave. It's gotten to that point where he's like, sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. Sir, I have to ask you to leave the store. We're going to call 911. You have to leave now. And then this is where it hits me out of nowhere. And by the way, my dad was standing right next to me. Apparently I had called my dad in all of this, and I didn't even remember that I called him. But apparently I called him and I said, come to Best Buy now. There's an issue. And he showed up while I was still arguing with the guy. So when I turned and saw my dad right next to me, I was like, oh great, my dad is here. But that's not going to help. It's not going to do anything. My dad's not going to beat the guy up and make him process a refund. But it still felt a little comforting to know that I wasn't standing alone and people weren't hemming and hawing at me all by myself. I was worried like someone was just going to grab me by the collar or something and just like yank me. But in any case, I see my dad. I was like surprised that he was there. I don't know how long he was standing there for. He's just watching and listening. And so this idea comes to me as if from the heavens above. And I'm suddenly like, I feel a ray of hope as I say to the guy these words. And tune in after the break to find out what I said. Just kidding. Sometimes YouTube puts ads in random places. If it put an ad right there, that would be hilarious. Like, is somebody watching these videos and like finding the most suspenseful moment to put an ad, like a movie? You know, like back in the day when you used to watch movies on TV? Anyway, back to the story. I say to the guy, as if from the heavens above, I go, hold on. What about if there are other drives like this one? What if someone's doing this on a larger scale? What if you have other duds? I call it a dud now. What if there are other duds back there? Can you open up some other drives and see what stock you have in the back and see if any of them are also like this one? And he just looks at me and almost smiles practically and goes, nope, we're not doing that. Like almost as if it was an absurd suggestion. Like, I'm going to start opening up inventory and selling it as used for no reason because of you, like because you are here trying to pull. But I had run out of ideas. So he says, nope, not going to happen. I say, okay, well, what if I buy one? I'll buy another drive. I'll buy several drives and we'll open all of them up and we'll see if any of them are duds. Surely, if there are other duds, then it's possible. Then it at least entertains the possibility that my story is true. If you have another dud, that's got to make my story like 99% true, at least, if not 100%. Because, like, how could I make this up and then by some crazy calamity of a coincidence, oh, you also have other dud drives, by the way. Like, how would I even have known that? That's just absurd. In any case, I said, I'll buy them. And he goes, you know what? I'm not going to keep doing this. And he, like, almost basically is about to walk away. And he says, you have to leave. You and your dad. He tells my dad, you guys have to go. And he's almost walking. And I say, look. And I stop him as he's about to leave. And I say, look, listen to me, please. I'm, like, almost crying at this point. I say, I'll buy the drives. And if they're all good, I will keep the drives. I will not return. You don't have to return. You can write on the receipt, no returns or whatever. And that's fine. Fair is fair. Okay? I'm willing to take that risk. Okay? It's my only hope. I have no other way out of this. I can't just lose $500 and walk away. This is not fair. I understand that you can't help me. I understand why you think this is a scam on my part. But I'm telling you, I'm the one being scammed here. I'll buy them and you can write no return on the receipt, provided that they're all good. But if any of them are duds, you have to return all of them. Return the good ones, return the bad ones, doesn't matter. I was honest and I deserve to be treated in the best possible way. And everything I've gone through now, the least you could do is refund my orders, refund my hard drive. What do you say? And now people are kind of like looking at him. The workers are looking at him. It's like a suspenseful moment. This is me putting everything out on the line now. And the customers who were all online had left their spots on the line and were like basically surrounding me, and they're all looking. They hear all the drama and they're like, whoa, like this is serious. And this kid, this is like a movie scene because he's like, no, I'm going to buy the drives and if you don't have to return them, and if they do, you're going to return. This was like, what? This never happens at Best Buy or Circuit City or any of these stores. Like, are you kidding me? The guy reluctantly agrees. He's like scoffing and huffing and puffing, but everyone's looking at him, and basically he has nothing to lose now. He can write no return. He's going to sell more drives. I'm going to look like a thief, loser, scoundrel if it plays out like this. And if it doesn't, I mean, then it will clearly be not his fault, but he will refund my money, but it will not look like it was his fault for denying me in the beginning. This will give him license to accept my case, my story, and oblige and give me the return, the refund. So how do you say no to that? Sure enough, he accepted, and I couldn't even believe my ears. Finally, everything opened up again in my mind. Like, I went from being in a dark place, in a dreary, scary, horrifying situation, to practically skipping. I was like, okay, like, I was just like, all right. I was relieved, and I walked to the hard drive section, which was about 100 feet away, down 2 aisles to the left or whatever. And I know everyone's just waiting over there, like, she's like, probably like, next, and they're like, nope, we're waiting for the hard drive. We're gonna wait and see what happens. This saga must be concluded here and now in front of us. I come back, everybody's waiting, everybody's standing there, and the guy is gone. Eddie, I remember his name, Eddie, is gone. He's no longer standing by the cash register. And I say, where's Eddie? She goes, it's okay, I'll do it. And I'm like, okay. So we do it. I give her the drive. I check out. I give her my money. I give her my debit card. Ooh, that's sad. So I give her my card. I check out. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up a little bit. I go to the hard drive section to get another hard drive, right? Or to get several. This was my intention, to get several. And I'm like, maybe I'll get lucky and one of them. Like, I'm going to play my odds here. I even held out hope a little bit that maybe I'll still return these other ones. But if I didn't, at least the price would average out. Instead of $500 each, it'll be like $700 each or $800 each if I have 2 good ones. And I lost the $500 on the other one. So it's like kind of like I paid $1,500 for 2. I don't know how I was thinking about it, but I was like, oh, I might get lucky and get my money back or get a proper hard drive. And this whole nightmare will be erased and everything will be all good again. Justice restored. So that's how I was looking at it. I was hoping for that the most. I see the hard drives on the shelf. I'm like, thank God there are still some left over here, because I was also worried that there would be none left. I would go over there and the shelf would be empty or something. I see multiple drives on the shelf and they all say the same thing as mine. It was like however many gigabytes it was a match. It was the same brand, everything the same, right? And there's like 3 of them. So I pick one up, I shake it, there's no sign of, there's no way to know, right? Like I wanted to just open it right there. I pick one up, I shake it, I'm looking at the box, I'm looking at the seams of the plastic that have sealed the box. I'm like examining, inspecting the box for damage or like anything from the outside that might give me a clue. And I can't see anything. They all look exactly the same. I pick up the next one. I'm shaking it. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at the top, looking at the bottom, reading the label. I'm like, what's going on? I pick up the next one and I'm like feeling defeated. And then my heart lights up. I'm pretty sure I was smiling. I was giddy. I felt like I was in a nightmare and just woke up. You know why? Because when I picked up the 3rd box, it was lighter than the other 2 boxes. It was significantly lighter. And I had to like rub my eyes. I had to make sure. And sure enough, it was the same exact box as the other 2. It's same gigabytes, same features. I said, surely this is not it. Surely something on the box is different. This is a different hard drive. But to my absolute delight, the 3 boxes were a perfect match for each other. Everything on the box was the same, but the 3rd one was significantly lighter than the other 2. Like half the weight. Like easy to distinguish, easy to determine how light it was. So I pick up the box and I'm like shaking it and I'm just giddy. I skip. I'm now not running to the counter, I'm skipping to the counter. You know when like a kid skips from enjoy? I'm like, let me get my poise, like some technicality or me gloating or whatever to like influence this whole transaction and to ruin everything. So I literally just like get all stoic and I hold the box and I walk back to the counter. By the time everyone can see me again, I'm just walking and holding it, like still like wiping tears off my face. I'm so frustrated still. And I tried my best to just uphold the same mood, even though I was like 99% certain that I was out of the woods now. But still, you never know. He could dishonor his word. Anything can happen where I still end up biting the cheese on this or something. And I'm like, okay. I walk up to the counter and I try to be as respectful and polite as I can, and I tell everyone around me, guys, can you please move in? Everyone. And I tell the workers behind the counter, I'm like, guys, so just let's reaffirm this. If this drive is a dud, I get my money back for this drive and the other drive, the original drive I got scammed on, and I hold up the other drive. This was not me. I opened this box and it was the wrong drive in the box, and now I'm being told that I'm a scam. And I literally had to recap the whole story for all the workers and all of the customers. Because at this point, I don't know who heard what, who just got here, who didn't, but I needed witnesses. I really wanted to make sure, and I needed Best Buy to acknowledge the deal before opening the box. And the lady says, yes. I said, right, so you're going to refund my money for both drives if this is a dud, if this is not the right drive in this box, right? Because it means if it happened to me, if it happened again, then there's some issue in the store that it wasn't my fault, right? And again, she reaffirms, yes, as agreed with the manager, as agreed with Eddie. And I said, where is Eddie? Is he not going to be here for the opening? She said, no, he had to take care of something. I said, okay, but you're authorized already, right? He told you it's fine. She said, yes. So now people are like, is this kid crazy? Like, is he really banking on this one hard drive just being a dud? Is he about to pay $500 and lose, like, the price of 2 drives now, and they're only gonna have one if this, and they don't know what I know. They don't know that I just examined 2 other boxes and that this one was lighter than the rest. So to me, it was kind of like I still wanted to be part of the mystery. I didn't want to just give away the detail that, like, what I knew that everyone else didn't know yet. So I go, yeah, okay, great, let's open it. I ring up, I pay for it, I get my receipt. She literally makes sure to write no returns on it. No return. I go, hold on, no returns, but what about if it's... She said, I know, yes, but... And I was satisfied. I said, okay, there's enough people standing here where there's about to be a riot if she doesn't hold up her end of the deal. So I look around at everyone, I'm holding up the receipt, no return, but if it's wrong, I get money back for the both drives because I was the one scammed here. Again, I'm reaffirming it. And she says, yes. And I go, can you just write no returns with exception or something like that, or if it's not a dud? So she does. She writes a little note on the thing and she puts the receipt down, and then she gives me the box. I give it back to her. I'm like, can you please open it? Do you mind? She says, no, I don't mind. And she gets like a little thing out of the drawer and she cuts the plastic, opens the drive. I could literally hear a pin drop as everybody kind of scooched in closer. People were now interested in knowing. I've involved them officially. I've got everyone, like, it's like, at this point, it was like theater. This was like a moment of pure theater. And I felt like I wasn't even part of it. I felt like I was a spectator in a way. But I felt like almost like the director, or some role where, like, I was like an invisible viewer watching this from a TV that kind of knew what happened. You know when, like, you're like, no, don't turn that corner, there's a monster over there. Like, I felt like that was me. Like, I knew something that the rest of the people didn't know at that point. Anyway, she cuts the bag open. She cuts the seal. Because the box has like this like saran wrap on it or whatever. Not saran wrap, but like a clear plastic coating on it. They have to cut it open. It's very tight. Machine done and everything. She cuts it open. She opens the box. She opens the box. She pulls out a drive. It's like, it got cushioning stuff on it, and it's sealed in a static bag. It's kind of like a shiny clear bag. That's like exactly the size of the drive. Like a bag of potato chips, but tighter and more like tin foily almost. And then she cuts that open with a scissor, pulls the drive out, and you could hear people gasping and murmuring. People were you could hear, oh, stop. You heard a clap. So one guy clapped, wringing his hands in shock, looking the other way. Like, people were like, and then finally people understood. They saw the IDE connector. I was actually surprised because I'm thinking, who knows about IDE? Well, a couple people did. They see the IDE connector. They see the drive. It looks crusty. The sticker on it is not brand new. The drive is not shining and heavy, fresh steel, never been touched. It's just a crusty old hard drive. And I saw that and I clapped. One clap. Yes! There you go. I was honest. I was telling you the truth. Let me have my money back, please. I need to get out of here. This is ridiculous. Best Buy, of all places, and I'm just letting her have it. I'm like, where is Eddie? I'd like to confront him. He said he was going to call the police on me. You broke my heart, Eddie. You really treated me like a criminal. This vindicates me. I demand an apology. I want my money back first. And she's already processing the refund. And ultimately, she like tries to give me my refund back on my debit card because that's what was on the receipt. And I said, no, I objected immediately. I said, how could you? That is a breach of my trust. You think I'm going to walk out of here and hope that the money ends up on my debit card 5 days later? I don't trust you after this whole nightmare. I couldn't trust you with the drive. I bought a drive and it was a dud, and you tried to kick me out and call the police on me and say that I was a scammer when it was you trying to scam me. And I can't. I need cash immediately. So she radios Eddie and she's like, yeah, it was a dud. Like, I'm giving him the money back, right, for both drives. And you can hear Roger, copy that. And you can also hear, she goes, he wants cash. He doesn't trust. He's saying he doesn't trust us. And you just hear, copy that. And then she just starts pulling cash out of the register. This was like, I don't even like hold a lot of cash like that. It was like $1,000 and change. She's like pulling out all this cash out the drawer and counts it out and checks both receipts and makes sure and processes the refund for both. And I am just so relieved. I wasn't even happy. I was still a little mad because it was like, you know that feeling you have when you're like, you didn't trust me? Like, I felt relieved to know that I wasn't going to come out of pocket on this, but I was a little upset still. And I just wanted to make a big stink, you know? I think if I was smarter and older and more rational, I would have sought damages. I would have asked some witnesses for their phone numbers. I would have asked for a police report, maybe had the police come in, and then I would have sought damages for the trouble and for all the devastation. Or I don't know if there was any monetary damage there necessarily. I'm not really I can't determine the legal aspects of this, but as a collected, calm, rational, mature adult, rather than just being like, in your face, I could have been more like, okay, and now it's time for retribution. Let us take all the steps necessary to settle this dispute, this conflict, and let's settle it in a manner that is appropriate after the situation that just played out. I think it's fair to say that I'm entitled to some compensation. Like, I would have just taken it there if I was older and smarter at the time. But like I said, I was a kid. I was just happy to get my money back. I'm pretty sure I went down to like PC Richard or something to get a drive from there. And you can bet I opened it right there at the register. And the lady was like, next, hold on, can you step aside? And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't step aside. I'm going to open this drive first and make sure it's really what it's supposed to be. And she was like, okay, I guess that's your right. And she waited for me to open it. I opened it. It was the right drive. If it wasn't, I was going to return it on the spot. And I'm pretty sure I did that for a few items for the coming months. And then after a while, I just gave up on that. And I was like, okay, well, it was a one-off. Wasn't going to happen again. And being cool and rational and smart is how you can get yourselves out of seemingly impossible situations. So don't forget that, people. Always be kind. Always be calm, rational, smart, and careful if you can be, even if the situation is causing you great duress. And if there is no solution, like if I didn't come up with a solution in that moment, I would have ate the loss and just kept it moving and worked hard and tried to make up for any loss in life that I experienced. And hopefully I would still be where I am today, if not even further. Rather than being behind. And hopefully all of you guys also approach life with a positive mental attitude, and hopefully you're all safe, happy, and find all the great things in life like success and love and joy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for all the support on the channel. I look forward to seeing all of you on the next one. Goodbye.